Chelsea Sherrod here in studio with Zach Cox out at Gillette Stadium following the Patriots' 33-21 loss to the Bills and also a loss of the top spot in the AFC East. Zach, at one point, this Patriots team was the team to beat. They're on a 7-game win streak and all, but today this offense just couldn't get into a rhythm aside from Damian Harris, who scored each of their touchdowns after being listed as questionable earlier in the week. What went wrong for this offense and what things need to be fixed in order for them to execute better moving forward?
Well, I think slow starts have been something that's really been hurting this team lately. We look back to last week's game, they fell behind 20-0 against the Indianapolis Colts. In today's game, they were down 17-7. Could have been a lot worse if the defense hadn't had a couple of red zone stops. They're just falling behind and they're having trouble climbing out of these holes. Just like last week, I thought the offense actually played a lot better after halftime. They scored touchdowns on each of their first 2 second-half possessions, but they only got 3 second-half possessions because the defense was really struggling throughout this game, and that wasn't enough to come out of that early hole. So I think something that the Patriots offense really has to focus on moving forward is delivering early in games, because the way that they're constructed, this is a team that's constructed to go out, get a lead, and then hold it with that powerful running game. It's harder to do that when you're falling behind early in games. So that's definitely something that's to change for this Patriots team.
And speaking of the defense, the Bills produced over 400 total yards of offense. Josh Allen rushed for 64 yards. Isaiah McKenzie, 125 receiving yards. I know that not having Jonathan Jones out there definitely had some effect on that. But what are some of the defensive breakdowns that you saw?
Well, the Isaiah McKenzie matchup was definitely one that was, I think, a big deciding factor in this game for the Patriots. It was really, can your backup slot corner, which was Miles Bryant, cover the Bills' backup slot receiver, which was Isaiah McKenzie, actually their third-string slot receiver, because Gabriel Davis was also out of this game? And the answer was no. McKenzie had a career game in this game, 11 catches, 125 yards, touchdown. It wasn't all on Bryant. The Patriots did play a good amount of zone in this game, but that was a really decisive matchup. Also, the fact that they let Josh Allen get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs, both on actual running plays and on plays where he was able to scramble out of the pocket, extend the play, and then he made some pretty remarkable throws across his body, some real Josh Allen type plays in this game. Patriots had defended Josh Allen pretty well in most of their previous meetings, but they really did not today, and they did not defend this Bills offense well at all. The Bills reached the red zone. They actually reached inside of the Patriots' 15-yard line on every single one of their possessions, excluding their kneel downs at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. That's not going to win you any games in the NFL, and that's something that the Patriots are absolutely going to need to remedy over these final 2 games before the postseason.
Definitely. Okay, so now the Bills are first in the division. The Patriots are now in wild card position. They've lost back-to-back games for the first time since weeks 3 and 4. What do the Patriots' playoff chances look like now?
There's still a pretty good chance that the Patriots will be in the playoffs by earning a wild card spot. If they win out, I believe they are guaranteed to be in the playoffs. At the very least, if they win their final 2 games, they have a very, very good chance of being in the playoffs. But right now, they're going to need a lot to break their way for them to win the AFC East and get a home playoff game in the playoffs. Basically, the Bills are going to have to lose one of their final 2 games. That's home games against Atlanta and the Jets, both games that Buffalo should win. If Buffalo wins out, they will be the AFC East champion, and the Patriots will be fighting for a wild card spot and having to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs. So still overall, I would say the Patriots' postseason outlook isn't dire just yet, but they've really lost a lot of that momentum that they had with that 7-game winning streak. And coming out of their bye week, they just have not looked like the same team. They now have 2 weeks to get that right before the playoffs. They play Jacksonville here next Sunday in a game they absolutely should win, and then they have to go down to Miami for their final regular season game, which, as all Patriots fans know, is a very difficult place for them to play. So really, really much less room for error for this Patriots team than there was just a few weeks ago.
Absolutely. All right, Zach. The Patriots say that they are approaching every game from here on out like a playoff game. And just like you said, they have Jacksonville next week and then Miami the following week after that. Zach Cox, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.